Imagine being in labor and the hospital decides to refuse care and they roll you out on a wheelchair outside of the facility. Here it is.
My daughter's in active labor, and this is a Franciscan Crown Point being put out in active labor. My daughter is being kicked out of this hospital and she's in active labor.
She was forced to give birth in a truck. Put it up full mast. You're wondering, what kind of hospital would do this? What are the particulars? What happened prior? I'm going to give you that. According to the route, Mercedes Wells arrived at the Franciscan Hospital in Crowd Point in the early morning hours of November 15th, believing that she was in active labor. At the time, the nurse told her she was 3 centimeters dilated. She's obviously in significant pain. Although Wells says she was experiencing painful contractions that were becoming increasingly frequent, she was discharged from the hospital after being monitored for more than 5 hours. At this point, I have to bring up the data that shows Black women suffer the most in our Western hospitals in the United States of America because they are typically not believed. They are not listened to. They are not heard. They're treated as if they do not have the issue or the illness that they are clearly proclaiming. Quote, the nurse said, she can feel the baby head, but there's still no change, and I was still at 3 centimeters. She said, if my labor persists, then come back, but right now, you are being discharged, end quote. Was posted on social media, but less than 10 minutes after leaving the hospital, Wells delivered her baby in her husband's truck. Mercedes' husband, Leon Wells, wrote about the terrifying experience on social media. Quote, my wife gave birth 8 minutes later. I delivered our baby in the truck. After being discharged from the hospital, first Texas, now Northwest Indiana. Justice will be served. Racism is real, he captioned on November 16th Facebook post. Wells and her husband have hired an attorney claiming the incident was discrimination against a Black woman. They want a meeting with hospital administrators to talk about policy changes, so no other mother in labor is turned away. According to NBC5 Chicago, a spokesperson for the hospital said they are investigating the matter, adding they continue to make the health and safety of their patients a priority. Quote, we have launched an internal investigation into the alleged incident, they said in the statement, quote, due to patient privacy laws and our own policies pertaining to internal investigations, we are unable to comment further at this time. Doesn't it sound familiar? If you were watching, yesterday? You've been watching the program this week. We reported on something quite similar. Sadly, Mercedes Wells Hospital experience is not unique. Yesterday, we covered the story of Miss Carrie Jones, who was in visible pain while in the waiting room for more than 30 minutes. She was there to be admitted to the labor and delivery unit at Dallas Regional Medical Center in Texas. The incident highlights the ongoing trend in maternal health disparities and racial biases in healthcare. A 2023 report from the Policy Center for Maternal Health found that Black women experience 50 deaths for every 100,000 live births, an increase from the previous year. By comparison, mortality rates for white, Hispanic, and Asian women were below 20 per 100,000 births. Could not imagine, man. Could not imagine having someone turned away from a hospital, literally pushed out in a wheelchair while in active labor, and 8 minutes later, they give birth. Jamie, obviously, this isn't something that we assume would happen inside of hospitals with trained individuals and facilities requirement, oversight, et cetera. But it's happening to a lot of Black women. What say you?
Who was we? Because, this is not an experience that I think many of us find to be that foreign. Like you alluded to, Black women and Black men are frequently overlooked. We are discounted oftentimes when we're reporting pain and reporting our health experiences. Dismissed is the word I was looking for and struggling to find. Constantly dismissed over and over and over again, to the detriment of our lives. Yeah. So the hospital released a statement saying that they continue to prioritize patients' health. You cannot say that right after you got caught kicking somebody out and forcing them to have go into labor in the parking lot and deliver a child in the parking lot. Those two statements are incongruous. You could say you prioritize your less melanated patients, or you could say you prioritize whatever their rationale was, the bed space or what, finances. I don't know what their excuse was to kick that poor woman out of the hospital. They certainly were not considering her health, her well-being, nor were they considering the health and the well-being of the child. But unfortunately, I think as we progress in the age of social media, more and more Americans are opening their eyes to the experience of what Black and brown people have been undergoing for millennia. As you alluded to, we have almost twice the amount of mortalities during childbirth than other races. I say we. Obviously, I'm not a person that's capable of birthing a child, but this affects my mothers and my sisters and all Black women across America, and it's just shameful. And I don't know when the dam is finally going to break in that regard. I think to sue is probably the only recourse that we have. That's the only way that people will start paying attention, if they start to be financially burdened by the burdens that they cause us.
Yeah. Because you don't have hardcore statutory restrictions, which would obviously create a penalty, a criminal penalty for this. You have to file litigation because they will make a determination. Is it worth us doing these things external of policy, or is it not? And worth for them has very little to do with the patient, has to do with the money. So individuals who experience these things, I encourage you, hold them accountable by filing a lawsuit until there's actual legal reform from representatives who give a damn to pass laws that will make it criminal for hospitals to do something like this. You would assume it's already criminal. And hell, it may be and just not enforced. All right, we'll bring you updates as they come.